The third part will cover language anxiety, empathy, and extroversion. Language anxiety. Spielberger defined anxiety as the subjective feeling of tension, apprehension, nervousness, and worry associated with an arousal of autonomic nervous system, that nervous system which functions, which controls your bodily functions. So this is subjective feeling of worrisome, of tension, nervousness, fear, that actually controls the bodily functions, or that nervous system which controls your bodily functions. Any task that involves a certain degree of challenge can expose the learner to feeling of self-doubt, uneasiness, fear, and likely to raise anxiety in the learner. So fear or uneasiness or discomfort can contribute to the level of anxiety a learner goes through when he or she is exposed to any task. And it all depends on the task, how challenging or complex the task is. Anxiety can be considered a negative factor in language learning and therefore should be kept minimized. Learner, when perceives self on a continuum of success when compared to other or with expectations, so his unsuccessful image is based on the anxiety, which is state and trait anxiety. Let's first try to understand what we mean by state anxiety and trait anxiety. State anxiety is the feeling that is experienced in relation to a particular situation, whereas trait anxiety is the stable tendency to be anxious or to go through any anxiety in many situations. So you have state and trait anxiety, which is debilitating anxiety, and second language learner temporarily or permanently avoids contact with the source of perceived failure. And second language learning is impaired or abandoned. So this is the result of the anxiety. Here you have the facilitating anxiety, where the learner increases efforts to improve a second language, and this has second language learning enhancement under the facilitating anxiety, where the anxiety is used as a little bit of driving force to encourage a learner to get into the process of second language learning. And this leads to ultimately enhancement of the learning process. Then you have other factors: successful image based on positive reward associated with success. Second language learning continues to participate in melee of success, and second language learning is enhanced. So this particular part shows that how anxiety can contribute in the enhancement or impairment of second language learning process. Next is empathy, and it's a process of putting yourself into someone else's shoes. It is all about how you identify yourself with others in terms of thinking or relating yourself to others, especially in the second language acquisition process. The empathic person may be the one who is able to identify more easily with speakers of target language and thus accept the input as intake for the second language acquisition process. This particular factor refers to a person's willingness, a person's desire, willingness, readiness to adapt and to relate to the speakers of the target language. And it is very relevant because we are dealing with the second language learning process over here. It involves taking on new identity as well. So two necessary aspects are to be considered. One is awareness of your own needs here, and then also identifying with other persons or target language speakers ideas and feelings as well as their opinions. Now, in order to understand the empathy, let's see how this image is presented. Use of the target language. So when somebody is using the target language, he or she is bound to lose first language identity and will be taking on a new identity. So here is where one is identifying with the speaker of the target language, speaker of the second language, their culture, their values, So you are identifying here, developing empathy. Flexible, adaptable, interested in other people will lead to comfortable using the second language. So when you are empathizing, you are being interested and you are adapting, this process will result into comfortable usage of second language. Now we have extroversion. It is the extent to which a person has strong urge to receive ego enhancement, self-esteem and a sense of wholeness from other people as opposed to receiving that affirmation from within. So extroversion is one's desire to be acknowledged from external factors, from people around him or her, and this is just to give enhancement in the self-esteem, in the ego, and this is quite opposite to introvert personality, which takes all these acknowledgement from within. Extroverts actually need other people in order to feel good. Other people's response, other people's positive reinforcement, positive feedback, acknowledgement, appreciation, that actually leads to positive enhancement of language proficiency. Extroversion, introversion dimension of learner's personality indeed affect the second language acquisition process. So in the image that you have, the clear distinction between introverts and extroverts given. Introverts get energy from inside and they get energy from extrovert, get it from outside. Introverts' real world is the inner world of ideas, understanding and meaning, whereas real world, as far as extroverts are concerned, are the outer world of the people and things around them. Introvert people of ideas and abstract invention, difficult and sometimes shy. People of action, extroverts are people of action, practical achievement, easy to understand and often social. They are not shy, they are opposite to shyness, which is they are social. Introverts have a public and private self, whereas extroverts are more into public and as well as less in private. Introverts, intense and passionate, tend to bottle up emotions, whereas extrovert expands and expansive and less impatient, unfold or unload emotions as they go along. Introvert feel drained by people, need privacy, and extrovert actually draws energy from people. Introvert have a few close friends, extrovert make lots of friends easily. Introverts are quite quiet in large groups and they fear humiliation, whereas extrovert are quite outspoken in groups and take risks. Introvert can concentrate intensely for long period, whereas extrovert can be distracted easily because they are more social, they are more engaged in the environment. Introvert mentally rehearse before speaking, whereas extrovert think loud, make decisions pretty quickly. Introvert learn by observing, live life only when they understand, whereas extrovert learn by doing. Introvert go from considering to doing and extrovert go from doing to considering and then back to doing. To conclude, language anxiety deals with learners' feelings of fear and apprehension once being exposed to the target language, and empathy and extroversion are the personality traits that affect the second language acquisition process.